Hello everyone, it's Charlton. Please subscribe to my channel, tap that notification bell, and like this video. It does help me keep making videos, and I would appreciate it majorly. So, I don't even know if I'll upload this, but I always forget to make these videos until I'm done doing something, and I'm actually not even doing anything that major. I'm just changing the wax O-ring, that creates the seal on the toilet flange. And actually, I don't think I'm going to use a wax one. I'm going to use the rubber one, which I have always avoided for forever because the wax provides a real tight seal. But I used this one for the first time in the same house. I'm in the Bridgeport property, which actually just got, they're moving in right now. And so this turned over, again. And I had it all ready. I was getting payment, the last check from them, and giving them the keys, and then I saw a small leak. Anyways, but I actually used this on the one upstairs. This house, it's a really old house from 1908, and so even in portions of the house, there's actually like a slant or an incline, which, when and I have a tendency to over-tighten those things, which you shouldn't do. But they're all different. Basically upstairs, this had gotten flattened out, and the toilet had actually, basically it was just, it was leaking. It had flattened all the way down, and it's on a slight incline. And this worked because that kind of moves with it, this rubber thing. I think I'm going to use it again on this one. Anyway, so just showing you how to do it. The first thing you do basically is turn the water off, and then you got to empty the toilet, because you're going to take the toilet off of there. So you flush it, to get the water as much out. Then you plunger it as much as you can. And then you take just like a cloth and suck up the water from the toilet and from inside there, because you're going to take the toilet off of there. So anything that's left in there when you unscrew the thing, whatever it is, I don't even know what that's called, from the valve that provides the water supply, it's all going to leak out. So you try to get as much out of there as possible. So I'll show you where it's leaking, even though I've already turned the water off and pushed the water out of there, so I'm not going to be able to show it leak. But like I said, I don't even know if I'm going to upload this. In other times, I actually, fix something or come up with a solution. This is just a routine changing of it. But it's leaking up there. So, hold on real quick, I'll turn around and show you. So, right up there, it just leaks a little bit, but, it only leaks into the basement. And there you can see some wetness. But it should be changed. And actually, when I was showing them around the place, there was a little leak there, which I think is from the refrigerator, just because it wasn't being used for like 2 weeks while the place was just sitting idle, and maybe some condensation, because there's no more leaking anymore. I was trying to find the leak. So I'll swap that out. I'll show you the flange and stuff when I put it on, once I get the toilet off of there. And so now you need to disconnect the water supply. Obviously you have to turn that off. That's the very first thing you do is turn the water off. And I don't even bother using the exact wrench. I just use some whatever plumber's pliers. And then a lot of times this is caulk to the floor. You need to kind of cut that away or slice through it with a utility knife, but you want to be careful, and I will, because you don't want to cut this floor. It's not actual hardwood floor. It's like fake hardwood linoleum that you don't want to cut into, and then you just pull it off. I'll show you in a sec. And naturally, you need to undo these as well on both sides before you can remove the toilet. That's usually, I have a tendency to over tighten things. I've learned to stop doing that, but especially even on a toilet. Doesn't need to be, it just needs to be snug, but not like tightened, because you a lot of times the flange is plastic. I'll show you in a second. This one's not, it's cast iron. I don't know if I have an accessory on top of it or not. I think I drilled new holes into it the last time with self-drilling screws or something like that. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and pick up the toilet, and I'm just showing you guys this stuff. I don't necessarily recommend you do this on your own. You can, but in every single time, there's always something different. Like this toilet hugs right up against the wall. I mean, it literally is flush against the wall. And it has to be that way just because of the spot the flange is in, and it's cast iron, to the basement, so it can't be moved without putting a whole new assembly in there, which is massive downstairs. I'm not going to do that, obviously. So, yeah, but every single time there's something else going on. So, anyways, but I know that these things were loose, like when I was moving around, when I was unloosening them. So I know there's trouble. And when I cut through the caulk, just to beat a caulk, just to kind of lock it in place, you could tell there's moisture going on because the blade went right through it and the seal came up. So here I'm just going to lift it up and go from there. I'll show you. Actually, I need to put the toilet somewhere. All right, so, there's the wax seal, and you can see it's all the way flattened. Let me turn it around. The wax seal is pushed all the way down to the boot, this rubber boot here, which is the same as that thing, okay? Normally that wax is usually up to here, but, and I probably over-tightened it, whatever. The flange might be up too high a little bit from the floor, which I bet it is, and I do have an accessory on there. I'll show you after I scrape all that stuff away. But I'm not going to use this, and I don't want to peel it away because I'm going to return it. I'm going to use the rubber one, the blue one. I'll show you when I've cleaned that all out of there. Somebody put a shim like in the back, which probably wasn't necessary. In fact, it seems like that would have even, because we're like on a slight incline down this way. Anyways, I'll show you in a minute. So I'm going to scrape this off, right there, and just, scrape that away. This thing costs like, and this is actually the more expensive one. I think it was $6, and this was $4. And this requires, very little knowledge of plumbing. You're not sweating anything on or anything, sweating like with a blowtorch. But which I can't do actually, and I should be able to do that. But to a plumber to do this, $250 minimum, just because to come out and do it. It's just a hassle and takes a little time. Probably more, probably more like $350. But I've paid $250 for it when I didn't know, So let me scrape that away. I'll show you. So, and you just scraping it away, and it's nasty, it's obviously, this is where people go to the bathroom, but, but when you do it, it's just, you're just doing it, it's no big deal. So, I'll show you when I'm done. But that's all you do, just to scrape it away. All right, so it's all scraped away, and, you can't really see it, but it's a little bit elevated. Like I said, every single situation is a little different. I think, though, because it is a little elevated, that's what, contributed to the wax being completely pushed down, either just from people sitting on it, over time, as well as it being screwed a little bit too tight by me, and it's the fact that it's elevated. So that's why I think I'm going to use this rubber boot thing, and that's like I put that on there myself and drilled it into the old cast iron flange. I think I needed new slots because the old ones were bad or something like that, and just used self-drilling screws, but actually I had to drill the holes first, drilling into the cast iron way back when. So yeah, let me get to it. I'm almost done. This will go right on there and sit there, and then I'll put the toilet on top of it, But with an wax O-ring, you actually put the wax O-ring on the bottom of the toilet and, like stick it to there, and sometimes it drops off before you actually drop the toilet on top of there. But you got to line up these two things, to the holes that are right here. And when you're holding the toilet, and you kind of only get like one shot at it. You can do it twice, you know, but if you miss, you destroy the wax O-ring and so on, and you don't even get to know, you know, if you know how perfect it is, and you just got to be happy with how you drop it after you've done it several times. Basically, you've practiced, you get the hang of it. But anyways, that's where these are very useful. I'll show you in a sec. So I mean, these don't say 3 or 4 inch. Some are 3. Some are 3. You know, but this says fit any. I'm just making you aware that some toilet flange drains are 3 inch, some are 4 inch, I believe. So I got it on there. That may, you know, that's standing up a fair amount. That may push the toilet up, and it may make the toilet, you know, sit off the ground, and there may be a gap, which will be a problem. And we'll see. I'm going to drop it right now and see. That's kind of the nice thing with them. You can drop it and then just take it back off, you know. I refuse to use them. I used to love the wax seal, because the wax is like an airtight seal. That is too, because of the weight of the toilet, and because you screw it down. I just resisted change. All right, I'm gonna try to put this in place and see how it goes, you know. But as I was saying before, with a wax O-ring, you literally stick it right on that hole there, you know, and it just sticks to the bottom of the toilet, and then you lift the toilet up and set it down on there. But I'm gonna do it just to show you, you know. But with the wax O-ring, you have to, you know, you kind of have to drop it right, you know, and get it right on those things, man, right there. You can't see these things, and you have to line it up perfectly. And once you drop it, you smush that wax O-ring in place. All right. Okay. I mean, I've gotten better at this. Believe me, I'm no expert, you know. These are the kind of jobs I can do. Most of the heavy, you know, real renovations, I have to hire somebody. I have a dude who's superb and has become a friend, and him and his crew, mainly one helper who I work alongside of, and I've become quite friendly with. They do the major renovations. I can't make things look pretty and stuff like that. So, but I've gotten better, and I just landed that, and you know, it's on there. It's wiggling. That's actually a good thing, because that means that rubber O-ring is touching the toilet, you know, and I might tighten that up and flush it and see if there's any leaking, and I think I'm good. All right, I'll be back. All right, so I think I'm looking good. I'm gonna tighten it. I tightened one down just by, you know, hand tight, but there's a gap here, all right, you know, where, and there's not there. So that should be okay. And I don't have a choice because I'm flush against the wall there. I mean, for me to prop it up here to try to make it somewhat level, you know, I wouldn't be able to because I'm flush against the wall. My point is that every single situation is always different. You always have little things you have to deal with, you know. I think my seal is going to be good, so I think I'm going to tighten it up, and, you know, so there's not going to be any gases or anything because the seal is going to be good. You know, that's basically the outside, the flange, and I'll caulk around there. And the caulk is not to prevent leakage or anything else. It's really just to kind of stick it to the floor. All right, I did tighten it, you know, and it's nice and snug. I did tighten it a little bit. Yeah. I mean, you just have to use your judgment. It's common sense. You don't want it wobbling, and that thing is up off the ground a little bit. So, you know, I just had to tighten it some. But if you over tighten, you can snap those things out of the flange and break it. You don't want it to go too crazy. Just a word of caution. All right, I'm gonna test it. Attach the water supply back on there. I gotta do that, fill it up, and go and see. We'll see if it leaks. I'm putting my shim back under the back of the toilet. I showed you the gap. That's why it was there. It fits there pretty good. It's a word of the wise that, you know, previous people's work, it's not always right, but a lot of times they help you out with the, you know, the stuff they did. They did it for a reason, usually. All right. So, but I got a bead of caulk on there. That's pretty good. This is a little tight spot. I'm gonna test it one more time. So here we go. Let me turn around. Let me just show you though, because this is a tough angle down in there, man. That's like left-handed, you know, up and down. Not even like, you know, where you have to go in like that. But see, that's a tight spot. You know, it's a tough place to get to. I did a decent job. All right, the toilet is filled, and so I'm going to flush and run downstairs to see if there's leaking, and let's go. And it was leaking here before, and it's not anymore. And I think that is problem solved. No leaking, none. It was coming right out of there. And I think we're good, man, you know? So now I'll put a bead of caulk around that toilet, and I'm done. Problem solved. All right, well, thanks for watching my videos. I really appreciate it. Please subscribe to my channel. Like this, give me a like down below, and I'll see you in the next video. Later, man.